Hey, happy Tuesday, Mars Day. Today is May 20th, 2025. It is a Tuesday. It is Mars Day. And then also to add on to that, we have now left Taurus season, and now we have entered into Gemini season. So the sun has entered Gemini. Yay! I'm a Gemini, so of course I'm excited, but I'm a June Gemini. So my Gemini's for May. Hi. Happy early birthday. Happy birthday, Gemini. All right. Those that are sensitive to energy, you probably even felt the shift that things were pretty sluggish all around. And then now, like, it's almost like today was like, it's a beautiful morning. Kind of like the energy just went. At least for me, it did. I woke up like, I got to do this, I got to do that. And of course, as you can see, my setup, I'm actually sitting in my kitchen because I was doing some studying and I decided to take a break. So with the break, it's because I was thinking, well, I should do this talk today because on Fridays, which is usually my weekend tarot, I do not want to do too much recording because not only do I record an intro, I also record your card readings. So this is the reason why I said, you know what, let me do this talk today. I had it set up, ready to go. So why not? Um, as you can see on my title, it's, mothers to be. It's a talk about pregnancy. But the pregnancy talk that I'm going to give is revolving around my certification in spirituality. As you can see, my spiritual care and then also my certification in holistic care as a curandera, as a yerbera, consejera espiritual, spiritual advisor, all that stuff. Okay. So just thought I let you know that I do not offer medical advice. This is not offering medical advice. This is just my chit chat surrounding, you could say, creencias, beliefs that people have, especially the Latinos. We've been revolving pregnancy, the parteras that are from Latin America. We have doulas too, so they do offer a lot of advice to a lot of the pregnant women. I know I grew up with some of them and learned some of them. And when I was pregnant, of course, part of me was like, well, I should be okay. But I will also tell you guys what went on with me, where I said to myself, you know what? It is important to understand that as mothers and mothers to be, our vessel is chosen by, the source, the divine, to create life, right? So with this, again, I'm not offering medical advice. You still have to go to your prenatal checkups, all that stuff, okay? My role here is just to inform and empower and just give you responses revolving around, holistic and spirituality topics, okay? I'm not here to provide you medical or legal advice, and I never will, so I'm trying to make it clear here. So yeah, let me go ahead and, whew, I'm just like, because I'm drinking this Hojika tea. I went to Tokyo Central this morning and I bought this tea here. Let's see, Hojika tea. So, it's just powder, okay? It doesn't have anything. I actually dissolved it in hot water, just very, very minimal here. And then once it dissolved, I added all this oat milk. And then I always use a bamboo stick to stir my stuff. I always use wood. So right now it's on my glass here, nice and fresh. It's nice and refreshing because I know all this talking is going to make me thirsty. But yeah, again, guys, how are you? So in regards to pregnancy, spiritual protection for expecting mamas, there are ancient beliefs and sacred tools available. Okay. Pregnancy is a sacred journey. Like I said, I mean, our bodies are chosen. I say our because I'm a mother. Okay. So not only is pregnancy a sacred journey, but also the body and the spirit itself. And as we know, there's different cultures and different traditions that believe that pregnant women carry an automatic divine protection, which is true. Okay. That's probably the reason why at the time I was just like, I'm okay. God has me at the time, all this stuff. So, yes, a powerful spiritual shield guards both mamas and their unborn child. Okay. So, anyone who attempts to send negative energy toward a pregnant woman, they do risk tarnishing their own energy. All right. It's like, fuck around and find out, for better use of words. Because as the divine force reflects harm, it does return back to sender. Okay. So whoever tries to, what we call mal de ojo, and also people that, in Spanish, we have a saying called maldición de, ah, fue maldición en la matriz. So it's like there's people that will actually curse the birth while it's in the womb. Maldición. La maldición, el vientre. There you go. I was trying to look for the right word. It's a maldición en el vientre. Okay. So yes, all that. Depending on your belief system, you probably heard it. The Latino community brings that up a lot, and I've heard it. Okay. So in order to support and strengthen this natural protection that we already come with, ladies, many spiritual practices offer tools and rituals. All right. These items are not just symbolic, they're actually believed to enhance the well being, that bienestar, and provide energetic defense, una defensa energética, de energía, and also to nurture the sacred bond between you, the mom, and your unborn child. Okay. So a few things that I'm going to mention, you probably have heard of them, is the red string protection. The red string protection is usually used when you feel weighed down or like a heavy negative energy. It's very simple, but it's also very, very, very powerful. And it's like doing a triple knot on a red string. And people usually tie it above the belly to ward off that negativity, that mal de ojo, and then you throw it in the trash afterwards. So it's like if you're gonna go out to, like, to go to the store or whatever, you want to tie. If you're, when you're pregnant, you want to tie that on above the belly. It's just gonna help you It's just a symbolization of removal of bad energy. So pregnant women can wear the red string either on your wrist for ongoing spiritual shielding, or when you go out, you can wear it under it. Okay, there is that red string protection. And I actually have an image here. Let me see here. There it is. So this is one of them. This is one of the examples that I found, because I've heard of this one. It's the red string above the belly, and this one has like two like safety pins. They call it, el seguro. So there's this one. You could put the, like how this example is. If you look at that, it's almost like a cross, right? And then also at the same time, those that do not put that, if you put that, you could also like put a little charm that looks like a little keychain. That's another one that I'm going to talk about in a bit. But people use this example, the red string tied around the belly, and it has to be above the belly button, as you could see. Okay. But yeah, that's one of the things that you could use, or you could tie the red string and put it like I personally, I'm a person, this energy comes in through this hand and energy goes out this hand. So but because of the heart, I would suggest Vibe Islami, for the heart, you want to put the red string on your left hand. Okay. Then there's also like gemstones for those who want to carry their protection. I personally back up moonstone, because it is considered like the stone of deep connection to not only fertility but also to the intuition and the emotional harmony. It is associated with the moon. All right, that's like the total feminine ally. All right, so carrying or wearing moonstone during pregnancy does help you balance all those hormonal changes. I remember those. Soothe you emotionally, because the emotions are very turbulent, guys. I mean, it's like right. It does support a smooth and complication-free birth. That's the belief on it. Again, I'm not giving medical advice. This is just, you could say, words from parteras, or when we look at the energies of the gemstones. Okay, its gentle feminine energy provides ongoing spiritual support to you, and also helping you, Miss Mama San, to stay connected to inner calm and wisdom. I actually have a very, very, very small moonstone here. You could barely see it. All right. And the thing about moonstone, it has this reflection. I have a ring, but I didn't wear it today. But let's see here. This is my piece of moonstone. It has this reflection that reflects off like a little moon. And I keep looking at it because it's so pretty. It's so pretty. Okay. But yeah, this is my moonstone here. Let me go back to my main screen here. So yeah, let's see my moonstone. And it's unfortunate that the camera doesn't get the flash, but it does have this flash on the side. Okay. But this is a tumbled moonstone that I have. Um, there are some that look almost like water. Okay, I've seen a few of them. This is a tumbled piece. I also have it in a ring. I've worn the ring here before, but moonstone is one of them. Okay, and then we have rose quartz because rose quartz is considered the heart stone. I mean, hello. I'm actually wearing rose quartz in here, and then I have a rose quartz here in the heart. Okay, so rose quartz or cuarzo de rosa, it's the heart stone, guys. So, right, it is known as the stone of unconditional love. You know, the rose quartz does actually create a strength and a sacred bond between you, the mom to be, and your unborn child. Okay, it has a gentle vibration, so it helps manage emotional waves of your pregnancy. Also, it eases the intensity of the childbirth, and it wraps this like spirit of calm and compassion. Like it's like very soothing for the soul. Okay, so again, I have like this. It's my rose quartz. It looks, because of the camera and the lighting, it doesn't. You can't see the pink, but there's a. It looks pink in here, and then I have one on my necklace here that's dangling. There's also some there. Okay. But yeah, that's one of those stones that I wanted to talk about. Then we have another type of, you could say, talisman, or yeah, like a little amulet that people use. So there's something called llamador de ángeles, which is also translates to angel collar. It's a like a necklace, like a charm that goes on a necklace, all right? It looks like a little chime, and that chime does emit a soft, like calming sound as the mother moves. So it's like you mother to be when you wear it. It does have. I wish I had one, but I don't. I'm like looking to see if my thing here has it. No, this is my soda light. I'm wearing soda light. I use soda light to concentrate on my schoolwork, so that's why I have my soda light on. But so it is very traditionally known, like it's traditionally known in Spain, and they call it the llamador de ángeles, like I said, which translates to angel collar. So the amulet is believed to summon guardian angels for protection, provide a sense of peace in chaotic or stressful environments, and also to form a spiritual connection between mother and unborn baby through the sound. Okay, so let me show you on my other screen here what it looks like. Oh, that's the wrong one. This one. So I got two versions here to show you. Some of them come with, you could get them with angel wings. Other do not. But apparently this is, it creates like this like nice little sound for the mamas. Okay. So yeah, this is the llamador the llama angeles, or angel caller, llamador de angeles. Right. That's it. It just translates to that. So those are some of the things. Now, when we come to eclipses, whether it's lunar or solar, it's a very, very heavy energy. Okay. Especially the sun, because the sun is more masculine. The sun energy, it is a masculine energy. All right. So there is also those talks or things that we've heard regarding eclipse. So yes, there are eclipse protection rituals for pregnant moms and their unborn children. So, well, during the eclipse, like I said, the energies are like heightened, and they are unpredictable depending on their, like, what zodiac sign they fall in. Okay, they could be more heightened. So special care is taken to shield, the womb, ladies. Okay, so our next solar eclipse is actually September 21st of this year. It will be a partial solar eclipse in Virgo. Virgo is an earth sign, and it is also considered a feminine energy. So the eclipse occurring in Virgo, in this case, it could bring changes in areas of life related to anything surrounding Virgo themes, which will be health, routine, and practical skills. And with that in mind, think about that for a moment. Make sure that you go to your appointments. Make sure you're taking your supplements. Make sure you're eating correctly, doing what you need to do to make sure that all this is taken care of. And there's people that hire doulas to help them out. There's people who seek spiritual care also, so you could find ways to relax while you are pregnant for those 9 months. Okay, and yeah, it is a heavy energy during the eclipses. So this is where earlier I talked about the key. There is you place like a key over the belly button to guard against disruptions, or the three safety pins over the belly button. And this practice does ensure a safe and full term pregnancy in this, in the community that we call los, espiritual, because I heard of it. I remember, the vecina, she would wear one here when she was pregnant. She had, because you could also like, there is, the string, the red string, you could also like create like like a little knotted string and put it inside your bra. Okay, so I did show a picture earlier. Let me show you that picture again. So that's the three safety pins. So this one, it shows two of them, okay, but it creates almost like a cross to me, or you could put another one across. And then I also said that you could actually on the bottom of you could hang like a little keychain, like not a keychain, the little it's a charm that looks like a key hanging from one of these over the belly button. Okay, so those are some of the things that I wanted to, especially with, I was like, oh, we do have another eclipse coming up. Yeah, it's that. So with each of these sacred tools and rituals that I cover, they do address spiritual needs of an expectant mama, and not only offering spiritual protection, but also emotional and energetic protection and nourishment during this transformative time, ladies. Okay. Whether it's drawn from a tradition, like I said, and the Latino community, these things are, you'll hear the abuela, the older tia, all that stuff mention it. Y cuidado con el mal de ojo. And you've seen the red string bracelet sometimes wore. So these practices do serve gentle reminders. The journey to motherhood is not only like magical, but it's mystical, and every mom deserves to feel protected, empowered, and at peace while they're pregnant. So I did say I was going to share a story about my situation, and that's why I said, you know what, I wanted to do this talk, in regards to, because of the things I cover. Okay, so I when I was pregnant, I didn't know I was pregnant until 11 weeks in. Okay, so but I did, you could say the symptoms were very, very obvious that this was not an ordinary body change. Okay, very, very tired. I remember that, the girls were pain, like I couldn't even touch them. They hurt a lot. And when it comes to exhaustion, it was exhaustion. Okay, really tired. At that time, I was hiking a lot, so the fact that I couldn't, like, as soon as I got home from work and passed out, just told me that something was wrong. But anyway, so in regards to when I found out that I was actually, when it was confirmed that I was pregnant, I remember when I told the biological father. And let's just say that, the individual was not happy with that. And of course, the first thing was, you need to, first, well, I'm not ready, blah, blah, blah. But I said, I don't care if you don't help me, I'll just do it myself. Okay, whatever. Um, well, because it would disrupt that individual's lifestyle or whatever. I didn't ask for anything. To me, it was just, okay, I'm pregnant. I need to take care of this. Okay. So yes, I ended up being a single mom. Okay. Well, the things that happened during the pregnancy were my daughter, I almost lost her a few times. And I already, now that she's 16, I had a talk with her about that. And I told her that she's here for a big purpose. I sat with her to read her natal chart and read out what her life purpose is. So that way, now that she understands, I can help her find her way. Okay, as in, as now that she understands what it means, because yeah, natal charts. I read my daughter's natal chart to her. So 4 months into my pregnancy, fourth month. Okay, um, my body was trying to reject it. I remember that I had to go to emergency room and being monitored, and nothing happened. And I don't know where he came along and said, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh," even though I was like, "Why are you here?" Because I remember he didn't want anything to do with that. Okay, nothing happened. I was sent home. 7 months. At 7 months, unfortunately, at that time, he and I were living together, but it was when I discovered that he was involved with someone behind my back. And yes, I'm putting it out here. I'm not embarrassed to share it. I'm pretty sure a lot of girls have gone through that shit. The thing is, here is where I said that I should have paid attention. So he had a neighbor of mine pregnant. And I remember that he invited me to her birthday party. She was younger, by the way. She had just turned 18. And that was her birthday party, but I didn't know she was pregnant yet. Okay. I was invited and I was surprised. Well, the girl's mom, I remember he used to brag about the neighbors and say, "Oh, yeah, we have a woman that practices over there and blah, blah, blah." But, when we were invited to the birthday party, well, he invited me. The mom, very, very, very lovingly handed me a bowl of food. If I remember correctly, it was pozole. She herself prepared it and she came to give it to me. I ate it. Around 3 in the morning that night, I felt this fever out of nowhere, and then I started feeling like if something was punching me in the stomach. And I remember that the fever concerned me more, but then the fact that the punching and the movement here freaked me out. I went to ER, K County, USC, and they ran me through so many freaking tests, you guys. They could not find anything. Okay, nothing. But do you remember in one of my talks I said that during pregnancy is when I realized it's time to honor and accept my gift. I ignored a lot of things. Okay, but yes, these were one of the spiritual things that I'm talking about that made me realize that I needed to really accept this. Okay, because I was kind of like, no, no. Okay, well, they couldn't find anything. They put me under this machine where they injected iodine. I remember it hurt, and they couldn't find. I couldn't breathe. They felt like someone was suffocating me, and nothing was found. So when I was laying in bed, and they were monitoring my belly, I remember that I said, to whatever source was listening to me at that time, you know, make sure that she's okay. You know, because I at that time I already knew I was having a girl. And then I remember that, like, this woman came in and she said, "Hi." She's like, "I suggested that perhaps a albuterol treatment might help you. It'll refresh your lungs." I was like, "Oh, okay." So I allowed her to do that to me, and she left me with something here. And I remember I could breathe and it felt good. And then they kept me overnight in the ER. And then the next day they checked me again, and it was like if no symptoms ever happened, and I was sent home. That was 7 months into pregnancy. Nothing else happened. And then other weird shit around my house was happening because since he was living with me, I was finding random stuff that was like, what's that? And then, all of a sudden, like, he'll be like, "Oh, that looks like brujeria. I don't know." But I'm like, "What the hell?" And to me, I was like, no, trying to make sense of it from a more rational mind, what I was seeing in the house, because I was trying hard not to go that route. Okay. Anyway, now we move to September. So September was let me see, seven. That was July, 7, 8. So yes, in September, I was in school. I was in school trying to get certified in what you call it, in logistics. Okay, because I was working a lot in warehouses at that time, so I realized if I work logistics, it'll help me out. I was headed to school on the seventh on the 105. There's a little mosquito because I have plants here, and every time I open the door to water them, little like those little no-see-ums come in until I see them, and then they disappear when I try to get them. Anyway, driving to school, you guys, on the 105 to connect to the 710 in what is that, Linwood, Southgate area. Suddenly the traffic stopped on that connector, like immediate stop. I was driving an Element at that time. Okay, I had so many cars, but one of them was that. But anyway, I remember that something said move to that emergency lane, even though we were stopped on the far right. Move on this lane. Intuition told me to do that. The mosquito's trying to like bite me. That's why it's like right here, and I tried to do this. Anyway, I moved, and then all of a sudden I hear like three cars down, and you see this like all the cars getting pushed in by some woman in an SUV who was going too fast and didn't pay attention to traffic. Well, the thing is, she hit so much that she was thrown. Like I just remember her car spinning, and everybody was looking, and all of a sudden, her car comes and goes directly to my freaking car and hits my car door. Like right, the dent of the car was right where my belly was at. But because I had moved, because something said move to the right lane, I have no idea why, and I just stayed there as opposed to just taking the emergency lane and going straight. I stayed there, and her car crashed straight into where right here. That I when I saw it coming, since I had the seatbelt, my first reaction was to try to jump into like this, but I was pulled by the seatbelt, and I just remember her car hitting me on the door, and I was thrown like this. Okay, sorry, I got allergies on me. No, I'm not crying. Okay, I went past. I'm already past that. But yeah. We it was a car accident, and I remember that the CHP wanted to call an ambulance for me, but because my car didn't mess up, or it was only the door, we only exchanged info, and then I went to the hospital because he sent me to the hospital. So I already had her hospital assigned, so I went, checked everything. She was fine. I was like, "Ooh, okay." Now we moved to her month of birth. All right. She was due until November. But I remember that it was my day of my final. They were doing actually, yeah, we were doing finals that week, and I was headed to and I wasn't feeling well because immediately as soon as I got to school, not only was I upset because her bio dad decided to argue with me that morning, so I wasn't all well emotionally. I did notice at I put it this way, I lost the plug immediately. Okay, god damn it, mosquito. Just anyway. Um, and I decided to go home, but I messaged my teacher, my professor, to let him know what's going on because I literally was sitting in class with this big ass belly. um, well, nothing happened. But then I got this urge, this itch to just start cleaning and throwing shit away, guys. Like I remember, I was just like, I was living with my mom at the time. Okay, so I remember that my room looked like the room of a freaking teenager. And when I say teenagers, because I have posters and all that stuff. I went into this mode of tearing the posters off, putting all this stuff in a box, cleaning the blankets. Like my room went from teenager to completely bald and clean. I was always watching I Love Lucy when I was pregnant too because her like the laughing actually made me feel good. That's laughing therapy. It's great, right? I didn't know at the time, but every time I saw him, even though it was like reruns, I would laugh my ass off with I Love Lucy. That night, I remember that I that my water broke. Like it was like 3 in the morning. Was it 3 in the morning? 3 in the morning. No, no, I'm lying. Midnight. My water broke. And I was like, 'cause I got hungry and I had a bowl of cereal. I was like, why am I so hungry? And then my stomach started hurting. And then my water broke. My mom drove me to the hospital because it wasn't that far from where we live. And they wheeled me in immediately. They offered me Pitocin to help me dilate. And um, what was interesting about that is that I wasn't dilating, but she had no more water. Okay. They notified my OBGYN doctor who I was going to, because he was the one assigned to bring her. I was going to have a natural birth. There was no dilation. And then they finally decided to give me an emergency C-section because I will tell you right now, she stopped breathing. Her heart stopped. They rushed me to emergency C-section. And then I just remember bend over as in like I was on the bed and they just told me do this and I did that and they're like do not move and then I just felt three on my spine and my body just and they caught me. There was a bunch of nurses. They were all male. I mean, remember I said I prior to what I look like now, I was before I had gastric bypass after pregnancy, so I was really heavy. Right now, if I fall back, any regular bear could catch me. Okay, but yeah, I passed out from how drowsy I was. All I remember in between drowsiness was them rushing to get her out of there. And when they got her out, ladies, like, if I explain, this is just my personal experience, but when something's asleep, you can still sort of feel something going on. I felt the cut going like this under. I felt the cut. And like, I don't know what they were doing because I think they cut by layers. And all of a sudden, like, I heard them, okay, she's out. And then when they moved her, I saw them carry her to a table, and I just saw a bunch of nurses working on her in between drowsiness. And all of a sudden, I saw him there. I guess he was notified. I don't know if I messaged him or if my mom did, but he was there. And I heard him say, like, no, try again. And then all of a sudden, like, they picked her up and they did this to her, and you could hear very, 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 very minimal. And then they're like, oh, okay, we got a heart rate. I was like, oh, she was not breathing. Okay. So I think they did CPR to her. Well, they brought her to me and all I saw was a purple baby. They just said she's here and I blacked out. When I woke up, they had me in recovery. Some nurse pumping my belly. I passed out again. When I woke up, now I was in my room. And then a nurse was already in there and had my daughter in a little crib next to me in one of those little hospital cribs. Here's another thing. Where I said we're spiritually protected, or my daughter was very spiritually protected, was there at that time when I woke up, they had a shift change. So the nurse left and a younger girl came in that was another RN. And she came and she's like, do you want to breastfeed her? I'm like, sure. And then she grabbed her and brought her to me. And she saw me struggling. And then she now the light hit my daughter and she looked at she's like, I don't like her color. Hold on. And she started looking at her. She's like, I don't like her color. I'm gonna take her to get checked. Of course, my reaction was like, what? And they took her away. That blue color, she wasn't getting oxygen. This is another part of the aftermath of her not breathing when she came out. So they put her in neonatal care. She stayed a week, like not a week, she stayed a few days after I left from the hospital and they released her to me on Halloween. Okay. So I remember that particularly. Yeah, so that happened to her there. That she also went through that. Like someone didn't want her to be born, right? And yeah, it's like I feel that they did that. La maldicieron en el vientre and all the mal de ojo because a lot of people didn't want her born, especially the person who unfortunately is the person who is her biological, and then also the fact that even on that side, they were doubting that she was his too. Okay, to the point being that there's a few things that happened now that she was here, where I feel that they were trying to get some form of DNA to confirm that it's like his kid, and which I was like, man. And yeah, so that person decided to stay out of. He decided he wanted nothing to do with her, even though he signed her birth certificate, you guys. But even while he's gone, he tried so hard to just like really like not like make sure that she, yeah. So I decided to cut all that off, like as well, meaning like when he gave me full custody legally and all that stuff. Um, he hadn't seen her in years, but he likes to spy on me on Facebook. Hi. Yeah, I caught you recently. And this is interesting because I don't talk to him at all, but he was like, he was spying on me on my Facebook page, which has no one on it. And I even put a notification that no one's on my page and I don't use it. So, but I caught him in one of his many fake pages looking at my page. I'm like, bro, but yeah. So when I look back, there's things I could have done, but things I did do after her birth were mom intuition as well as spiritual intuition did kick in for me with her because even after birth, you guys, the children get mal de ojo. People going, oh, mira, mira. Everybody wants to see people touching your belly when you're pregnant. That's another reason why you wear that stuff. And then the ojo, when they're like trying to touch you. A lot of people like touching my belly when I was pregnant. The only people that I was like okay with doing that was my grandpa, rest in peace, grandpa. But yeah, like when she would come, let's see, because I had to start working because like I said, I was a single mom. So by 3 months I was back at work, but she was an infant. Okay. Oh my gosh, like those nights where she would cry and there was no reason to cry. It wasn't colic. I tried everything in regards to colicky babies. Doctors checked, and well, she's not sick. Well, okay. And I remember that one time that she just like screaming. I took her on the drive to see if she would fall asleep. Nothing. And it's when I quiet myself down, that emotional side that gets that frustration. I heard something say "limpia." I don't know how. I don't know why. What came to me? That's how I know that it was time to embrace that shit. My mom had ruda growing in the back. So I went to cut a bunch of ruda, washed it. I remember grabbing an egg. Now I know that eggs need to be at least 4 hours out of the fridge. But at that time, somebody said grab an egg. I grabbed a white egg, and it always has to be a white egg. I poured agua florida on it. I had agua florida, and I just started passing it on her body. And then I found myself singing to her too. I was like, Sana, Sana, colita de rana, to a baby, to an infant. And I started all here, all the way down to her feet. And then I kind of like, around her and all that stuff. And she stopped crying and she knocked out. Okay, she knocked out. And then I broke the egg in the glass. I still remember it was like a clear glass. It wasn't like that. It was a clear glass of water that I had. And then when I broke the egg in there and I looked at it, no lie, a bunch of spider webs and all this weird shit was on it. Okay, I was like, oh, tenía mal de ojo. I knew it. Like, I knew just by looking at it, that's what she had. So every now and then when she would get like that, or even when she had a fever from being sick, I always use herbal stuff on her like that. Now, ladies, notice I did say when the kiddo was already here, I did that. Okay, so I want you to be mindful if you are pregnant, you don't do that kind of stuff with you. Okay, because for pregnant women, there's a lot of herbs that you want to avoid during pregnancy. Okay, so it's like a few of the ones that that I know that our gente, our people use a lot. It's like we use savila, right? The savila, the parts that are okay would be like a gel, but you should not be ingesting the whole leaf of it, okay, in any preparation because the contractions from your uterus, it's like pushing it out because it induces contractions, okay? And then there is like the angelica root. I know personally now as like when I give you could say any issues surrounding, like if you have problems with your period and stuff, angelica is used, especially the don. They call it don quai. They use it for traditional Chinese medicine, but pregnant women should not use it. because the root will induce uterine contractions. Okay, so it's Angelica China, done quite like I said. I have some in the house, and it's only used for you like any issues relating your menstruation. Okay, dude, manzanilla, the one tea that Latinos use, manzanilla is also like either if you have it either in capsules, but the té is usually popular, right? Its root does induce uterine contractions, so stay away from the manzanilla. And then for my brujas who practice. In case you don't know, I know we know that wormwood, the ajenjo or estafiate, we use it for stuff, right? The wormwood, the leaves and the stems in the form of a tea. Some of us use it for astral projection. No, if you're pregnant, don't use it. It does actually it has a neurotoxic ingredient, okay, and that is dangerous for pregnant moms. Okay, my another very popular one between my Latinas, Cascara Sagrada. It's a tree bark. I have some in the house. We use it for protection, for saumerios, but no, no. I know some people use it for tea. I've seen it in the supermarkets. It does induce uterine contractions. Do not take it while you're pregnant, okay? And canela, freaking cinnamon, okay? As an occasional condiment, it is like considered safe, but if you're drinking like a full on, cup of tea, it's going to give you contractions, lady. And I know that canela, we like to use it in a lot of things. Canela se toman like in tea to help with the diabetes. No, 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 no. Canela it does induce uterine contractions, and like also like epazote. We use it for freaking cooking. Okay. But if you drink it as a tea, the leaves and the stems, it does contain a toxic compound like in it, okay? So I know that we use it as an occasional condiment. Like I've seen people use it in pozole, my Salvadorian and my Central American people use it in some of their caldos too, but it does induce uterine contractions because of that toxic compound. And I think it's called ascaridol. So you want to avoid ingesting it as oil as well because it's neurotoxic, ladies. This is for epazote, all right? Um, Fennel. I use fennel with when I make spaghetti from scratch because I like how fennel makes. I use ground pork when I make spaghetti. So I'm just saying like fennel, the fennel seeds, or like if it comes in a tea, if you take it in the form of a tea and pills or even in oil, high doses are to be avoided because they will give you uterine contraction. You know, I was reading like when I say brujas, please, because I have devil's claw. It's this little black seed. It has like literally like a claw. That one, my brujas. It's if you're pregnant, it does induce uterine contractions if you take it as a tea or as a pill or a capsule, whatever. Okay, so we use a lot of hierbas as Latinas. Hierba de San Juan, which will be like St. John's wort. That one will induce uterine contractions. All right. The motherwort, I have some of that. The Leonori, its motherwort is used in traditional Chinese medicine. I have it, that one. Its stem, its leaves, and its flowers. Whether you drink it as a tea, make a tincture or syrup, it does induce uterine contractions. That one I use as something for traditional Chinese medicine for personally as well because it helps with menstruation issues. But as a pregnant woman, you don't want to use it. And I did say the manzanilla. Um, there is also el suapatle, el siopapatle. You don't want to use that tea. It will give you uterine contractions. And these are just warnings, okay? Because it's stuff I've read. Because I know that if I'm going to help someone out that has, I need to be careful with these herbs around you, okay? So it's like even albahaca, like the basil, the any tea or essential oil with albahaca. Well, it's safe as a condiment, like when it's cooked. you want to avoid the essential oil of basil during pregnancy, ladies, okay? And oregano as well. Tea oregano or essential oil, the tea could induce uterine contraction. So you want to avoid topical use of that essential oil and avoid ingestion of the essential oil in any way. But to use as a condiment, the oregano is considered semi because it's not like you like do this in the you use pinch and break it, right? But yeah, the ginseng. A lot of my peeps like to use that Korean ginseng. You know, the panax, those kind of things. So there's American ginseng and there's Korean one. So you want to be mindful. With that too. Passion flower, passiflora. Yeah, it does give uterine contractions, and I know passiflora because I've seen it at the market, the Mexican market. So yeah, té de boldo. The leaves, the tea, it does contain a toxic compound known as, again, ascaridol and a hypnotic alkaloid, boldi. Okay, so yes, it is considered not well. And for my other women that do all that like new age care, like kava root, all that stuff. What's it? Coca-Cola, all those come out. And then another one too for my girls, okay, for my pregnant mama sons, like rosemary, romero. Okay, it will. If you drink it as a tea, it could induce uterine contractions. All right. You also want to avoid the essential oil of rosemary while you're pregnant or even ingesting it. Okay. Ruda, while you're pregnant, it could also cause uterine contractions. So you want to avoid it. Okay. So yeah, those are like some of the things that I was reading too. Um, Damiana, our peeps love Damiana tea. I know I love it. It's hierba de pastora. Yeah, do not. No tea. It's gonna induce uterine contractions. Uña de gato. Uterine contractions. Okay, and here go, ladies. My Mexican ladies, I love this stuff, but yeah, the huitlacoche. No, that fungus, that food. Um, you want to avoid it during the first trimester of pregnancy. So again, like when I started here, I'm not offering medical advice, okay? Because I'm not a doctor. I'm just like you see what I know how to do, my spiritual stuff, but I'm familiar with some of the things. So I personally do believe in the power of natural wellness and the importance of being informed about our own health. So I just want to provide you here with quality resources and thoughtful recommendations, you know, an effective supplemental information to support your wellness journey. Okay, that's it. And again, I want to make it clear I'm not providing medical or legal advice, and I never will. Okay, I'm just here to inform you and to empower you. Supplements are not support. Sorry. Supplements are support, not solutions. Okay. I love talking about hierbas and the benefits of supplements. Okay. I mean, hello, I love anything revolving around, herbatoire. Okay. But you always want to reach out to your healthcare provider if you suspect a health issue. I mean, when I did, I was like, wait, something's off here. So don't delay in reaching out to your health provider and make sure you read about um you know, what you need to do to take care of yourself, but always go to your doctor, all right? You don't want to substitute anything for real medical care, guys, okay? And of course, I welcome your questions about things that I know, things that I do for this general wellness topics that I talk about. And again, I will not send you like medical advice. I'm not a doctor and I don't want to misguide you by pretending to be because I'm not a doctor. Okay. Anyway, in short, again, I'm here to empower, not prescribe, guys. All right. Let's keep that wellness journey of yours while you are being, your vessel has new life. Make sure you are fully grounded, you're mindful, and responsibly informed. So, again, this was just a few things that I wanted to talk about today and share my personal experience as a mama. And, again, pregnancy is not only physical, it's sacred. Okay. So, my topic here is technically a spiritual protection for mamas to be from my feedback to you. All right. So, hopefully, all this info helped you out and hope you share this to any mamas that are pregnant. I want to touch more on like other gemstones, but I picked like just the basic ones again. The rose quartz, some moonstones, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. And I hope you have a great, great, great Tuesday. Again, this is Chakralosa, and hope to see you soon. Bye.